What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me. This is the Uncanny Omar, and today I think it's just me rolling solo. Not sure. I invited some of the near me condition casts, so maybe they'll show up, maybe not. Doesn't matter. I'm here. Well, it does matter. It'd be nice for them to come. But anyway, hope everybody's doing all right. It is Saturday morning here in the lovely state of Kentucky. We have a beautiful day outside. It's 11 o'clock. So, yeah, where's everybody from? I'd love to know that. Leave that in the chat. And let's get to talking comic books. Hope y'all can hear me. 'Cause I hate when I do this by myself because I never know if I'm being heard or not. So I'm hoping I don't look like an idiot just not talking. So, yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Staying healthy, safe out there. Um, Oxfordshire here in the UK at 4 p.m. Hope you are safe and well, brother. Excelsior. Excelsior to you, my dude. I recognize your name. Now you're from. Now I know where you're from. India, Serbia, Taiwan, Fresno, Germany. I love it. Connecticut. Dude, I miss Chi-Town so much. I have a cousin that's up there right now. She's visiting another family member. And she's taking pictures of like all the buildings, the bean, and all that. West Michigan. I knew they wouldn't show up. What are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? Georgia. Yes, yeah. Love to know where everybody's from. Scotland, Boston, Puerto Rico, Minnesota. I love the diversity. It's awesome. Different languages. California. That's a whole nother world. Big Cali in the house. Perth. What's up, Ted? Love your Ghost Rider picture, man. Boston, Massachusetts. Wait a minute. There we are.
Hey,
What's
how's it
up,
going?
dude? Ah, I'm surprised you're here. All right, cool. Good. Well, it's always an open invitation. I never know who's going to show up. So
Yeah, I meant to RSVP and
you don't have to do
forgot.
that.
Yeah, I've got about half an hour before we leave for lunch with Lori's family, so figure I'd
Good,
jump
good
on and
deal.
say hello.
Good, yeah. I was just asking where everybody's from. No, you're not. Slob lying.
Versailles.
You mean
Nobody's from Versailles.
Versailles, Kentucky.
Versailles?
Germany. Joe Cool, for some reason I always thought it was Canada. Maybe it's because you're so cool and chill. I thought you were Canadian, that's why. Bosnia. Out here in Corona Spikefield, Florida. Those Latinos, man. Isn't that what the governor said? All the Latinos partying up? That's what's causing the spike? The hell? What's up, David? España, Ecuador, Big Bad Berlin, Israel, California, Texas. What's up, Sean? India, Mexico City, Texas, New Jersey, and in Vancouver. There's my Canadian brothers. There we go. Indonesia. What's up, my dude? Boston. I have a message from the astonishing Melanie. She's starting to work on Saturdays, and she's pretty upset she won't be able to join us. So as soon as hopefully her schedule doesn't stay for Saturdays always, but as soon as that changes, she'll be back on. She says she misses everybody. So, and she may be watching too. I don't know. She might be in the chat. Where were you, Dan? Omar had tears in his eyes and everything.
Sometimes we let our friends down.
Sometimes, all the time.
we do our best, but speaking of friends, so who's going to send me and Omar some Skylinks since they're out literally everywhere except the U.S.?
Oh, they're out in the neat nether regions.
They're
world?
out everywhere except the U.S.
I still need the two-pack of Tupac. The Tupac of Skywarp and Thundercracker, man.
Yeah, me too. I went to that Target that said in stock, and the guy was like, "No,
we're keeping these for my friends.
We don't really have it." And I was like, "But your inventory system." He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
Malaysia. No Omnis today. That's right. Yeah, but she did say she loves you all, misses you all. The Netherlands, the Greater Berg. Oh, you found the sensational She-Hulk. Sensational She-Hulk, yeah. I think both cheap graphic novels and in-stock trades are going to get us. They're trying to get more batches of them. I know cheap graphic novels is going outside of Diamond to find them. So I don't know what the discount will be. It's a weird time for collected editions, man. Weird time. Dan the Man. Look at that Wolverine picture. The Netherlands. Oh man, is that what AirPods sound like? Jesus. Or do you have AirPods on, Ross? Portland. There's more Canadians showing up. So how did DC screw up this week? All right, we could talk a little bit about that.
I'd be curious to know the same.
Well, this week they announced that they were going to start sending like comic book exclusive things to Walmart again. You know how they did like the 100-page stuff they've done recently. So again, people from the comic book retailer market are like, well, thanks again, DC, you're screwing us over. You have exclusive things with Walmart now. From a business standpoint, it makes sense, right? Like Walmart is huge and everywhere, at least here in America and in Canada. So it makes sense from that, from the business standpoint, from the retailer standpoint, and loyal fans to comic book stores. You know, some people are upset, but I get it. I mean, Marvel and DC always did that. Image did that too.
Yeah. Would it be accurate though to say at this point that DC is indicating by its actions that it is looking out only for DC without any regard for how its actions affect the larger comic market in general?
I think okay, so we've had same release day, book market and direct market. And by the way, direct market means comic book stores and online stores like cheap graphic novels and stock trades, Tales of Wonder, in case you don't know. And the book market, which is a different market, is places like bookstores like Barnes & Noble, Amazon, places like that. So they announced that they're going to do no more exclusive direct market release dates, right? So it will be released on the same day. So, for example, like, I don't know, if it doesn't get canceled, the Green Arrow by Mike Grell Omnibus will be out on the same day at Amazon and places like cheap graphic novels and stock trades, or your comic book store. So that's kind of it's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker. I know a lot of our European, Australian, a lot of people outside of the United States already deal with that because they have to wait for the shipping to get there anyway. So usually it's the same release day at the same time. There's my baby. Hey guys, I can watch for 10 minutes here at work. Miss you all. See, she said she missed you all, and she does. Yeah, and then of course the whole thing about no longer being exclusive to Diamond and kind of screwing comic book shops and retailers out of their huge discounts for a big bundle.
Well, question there, just the way you phrased it, is it that they're no longer exclusive to Diamond, or that they're not using Diamond whatsoever?
Well, it's weird because they kind of backtrack on what they said. So when did I announce that? A couple of weeks ago?
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, so when they said we are no longer using Diamond, we're now using the Lunar Publishing and the man, I'm sorry, I had to stop. You have that much control over your kids, you just snap and give them that look.
That was the dog.
Oh, the dog. I was like, so you got teenagers. You can't do that with teenagers.
You'd be surprised, but everyone, after the last few months, everyone is very respectful when you're talking at a computer and you have headphones in, and you basically quit making so much noise.
Baby, you weren't here to switch out the figures in the back. Don't be calling me out. So the way that I phrased that, okay, so they went back, right? They started saying, well, we will keep using Diamond as well until end of year, because they made an announcement without thinking of Europe, without thinking of Australia, where Lunar and Midtown Comics don't have a place to go ship to, right? So they started like no distribution centers. So they went, right. So which goes to show you that they were making decisions without thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Which is the way they've been doing a lot of things lately. So yeah, this week they announced that This week I announced some upcoming Omnis again. Big shout out to my boy Brooks Loves Books. The catalog went up with some things that some people are excited for. Hopefully, I'll be happy if 75% of them don't get canceled. But it's so sad that I say that. Like, and I think anybody that's ever watched my announcements from DC always gets excited with the dot dot dot. If it doesn't get canceled, this would be great. Because one of the things I did was when I had access to the catalog, I went into the catalog and I started looking for new release dates. Because I know because of the coronavirus, they're using that as an excuse to push some of these things back that they may have canceled. One of them being Batgirl by Gail Simone. Yeah. Batgirl now has a placeholder date of March of 2021, which is cool if it still comes out. The one I didn't see was Batwoman. And that has me a little bit worried because that's one I'm very looking forward to, even though I have them in trade paperback. But Amazon still has a placeholder for March of 2021. It's not in the catalog, but that catalog could be updated. Sure. So I'm hoping it's the case with like Marvel. When Marvel was updating the catalog slowly, Amazon had a placeholder of like March of 2021 for all the Omnis that were coming out. So once they got that real date, every time, everything went updated and things changed. So, yes.
Quick shout out to James, who's in the chat, who freaks me out a little bit with who's this that knows the names of my kids? Anyway.
Oh, Omar, do you think the TV show Batwoman changing leads to they'll do the same in the comic book? I don't know what's going on. What the latest I heard is that I heard they were going to kill off the character.
Yeah,
then I heard they're going to replace her. They're not recasting.
I heard, right? Mm-hmm. But okay, well, it'll be and it's always interesting to see how they do that when you have to write around the fact that you won't have an on-screen transition. I don't know. I think I'm personally more with the just recast and move on.
See, like I was just talking about that with Maddie and Amanda on Tuesday. Like I hate it even as a kid when voice actors got recasted or when an actor would be recast. I would be like, no, that's not the dude. This is another dude, right? Yeah. And even to this day in my adulthood, I still hate when movies recast actors. Like War Machine. Like I love Don Cheadle. I think he's a great actor, but Terrence Howard, man, he looked like Rhodey. Like
Terrence Howard. I enjoyed Terrence Howard in that, but it is what it is, right? I mean,
yeah,
I would rather it be things like this where it's just either somebody decided they didn't want to do it anymore, or their contract negotiations that fall apart, rather than like, this person died, so we're just going to recast it. Mm-hmm. That's when it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. At least I guess they're not killing the character off. And then the latest rumor I saw is that they're bringing in Barbara Gordon, so it'll be Batgirl instead of Batwoman. I don't keep up with the show, so I really don't have a dog in that fight, right? Like I'm not going to be upset or anything. More sad news, Omar. DC has been canceled. Is it though? Is Amazing Spider-Man by JMS
canceled in the social media sense?
Volume 1 coming back. I'm gonna say I took a poll within Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and oh my gosh, I tallied up. What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
I tallied up all those numbers, and let me tell you, it was a task. Because I made sure nobody... And if you voted more than one book, I took the first book you mentioned. I did not take the second book. I saw y'all trying to sneak in some votes. I sent that list over to David. He's got the list. And this week, they started talking about new Omnis. He mentioned one that I'm really excited for, but I can't say a word. A completely new omnibus we've never heard of. I'm not a tease. It's everybody knows a new omnibus is coming. That's not really teasing. I'm just excited for it because... How about this? I can say it's something that hasn't been released before, right? So it's not like an Uncanny X-Men Volume 5 omnibus or an Amazing Spider-Man omnibus Volume 5 or anything like that. It's a new series, new series in the omnibus format rather. So he's got my list, and we've been talking, and I know that one that you all have been asking me about, and I'm pushing for, is the X-Men Inferno OHC, the oversized hardcover. It's been out of print for 10 years, and they don't reprint oversized hardcovers. So I've been, suggesting like, oh, you just put an omnibus dust jacket, give it a new cover. So you could do it that way. And I don't know. He always teases. I don't like. He teases me more. He's like, maybe something like that, right? But as soon as I get that complete list, I'll be happy to share it with you all. As if he's cool with me sharing it, of course. So hopefully, I know a lot of you voted for Inferno, even though Inferno's not an omnibus, but I know it's been high in demand. If you all want me to release the list to you all to see what the top 10 are, I'd be happy to. So just let me know. But it was interesting to see what was voted this year. Last year, when I did this, it was nothing but X-Men, pretty much. Couple Spider-Man here, Infinity Gauntlet here. This year, it was
you steering the audience, I think.
Well, no, because a lot of those X-Men comics have been out of print for years. So this year was a lot different with the reprints, what people wanted, because a lot of the Spider-Man had been out for a long time, a lot of the Jonathan Hickman stuff. So it'll be interesting what, in the end, what Marvel decides, right? It's fun to be part of it, but we don't get the. It's not like we make the call, right? Like this is happening. It's up to Marvel. So cancel hounds on social media really would try to cancel Batman. Probably. Yes, for the releasing the top 10 list results. Yeah, I'll be happy to. I can do that. I don't mind. Don't be mad, because this is you all voting, not me. This is my list. Release the Minty's cut. You got it, man. I promise I will. I'll let it out this week. Well, I already shared it with Marvel, so they have it. And then I also shared with them the list of out-of-print Epic collections, and I highlighted the ones that I know a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. Talk a little bit about the amazing adult fantasy omnibus release. The reprint that's coming. Does that come out this week? It's coming out this week, isn't it? I think. Yeah. I don't know if I'll get it because I have between the Steve Ditko stuff and then the Monster Bus, the Jack Kirby stuff. I think that's everything that's covered within those issues. I think, with the exception, of course, of Amazing Fantasy number 15, which is the first appearance of, I don't know, some character that crawls on walls.
Yeah, somebody. The ringside announcer guy.
That's him. Has anything happened with the Batman Deluxe Editions book where they canceled? No, the Batman Deluxe Editions are still coming out. That is the one title that is still coming out from DC that is in Deluxe Edition from the Rebirth line, which is crazy. Hickman FF Omnibus a good run? Hell yes. It's one of the best runs of Fantastic Four. And Fantastic Four to me has had a lot of really good runs. I mean, it's had a lot of runs that I'm sure you've heard of, when you're talking about Lee and Kirby, Wade and Ringo, John Byrne's run on it. And yes, Hickman's run's up there. But then it's got this run by Tom DeFalco that not a lot of people talk about. I love that run. I think it's a phenomenal run on Fantastic Four. Omar, console me. Have you ever accidentally made a small tear in the back page of your books? Console me. No. But when I let my kids and my wife read things, so when I started dating Melanie, she used the dog. What is it called? Dog ear. My freaking oversized hardcover. What was it? My Spider-Man one. And dude, that led into a fight. I was like, "What you can't do that. You can buy a goddamn bookmark, Melanie." Or no, I bought her like 5 bookmarks. I'm like, do not do that. It was my manga. It wasn't even expensive or out of print. It was my Gunsmith Cats manga. That's what it was. And I'm like, I ever see you do that again, we're done. We're done. I didn't mean it, but. And then my kids, I remember my daughter, I was traveling for work. She loved my the complete Peanuts collection that they released, and she was on one of them, the hardcovers, their box sets, and she dropped one, and it broke, like, the book broke. And, of course, it was the one that was out of print that year. So she called me crying, and I was like, "It's okay, baby. It's just a book." And of course, that's what I said. What I was thinking was like, of all the damn Peanuts books she could have broken, she had to break the one that was out of print. But I didn't say it out loud. It's just what I was thinking. You ain't got nothing to say about that, Melanie? You ain't got nothing to say? That's why you weren't allowed to touch my absolutes and omnis until 10 years into the relationship. She knows. Omar, the family is watching. Yeah, she is. I was stretching the spine, turned away, and moved my hand back up the page, making a small tear at the bottom of the page. 2020. Oh, I've got one beat, man. I was rearranging my omnis. My new X-Men, my second omnibus I ever bought, fell off the shelf. Busted. My second omnibus. It's the first printing. I love it. It's got the leather look to it, and man, it broke my heart. I was upset. You can ask Melanie about that. Oh, she's leaving, so she's saying bye. I was upset, man, and it was an accident. But things like that happen. And honestly, in the what is it now? 15, 16, 17 years I've been getting collected editions. That's the one that's happened by accident. So I guess it's not too bad. What was your question? What's your question? Ask again. What did you say, Dan?
I said you need all floor level shelves, obviously.
Yeah, but then like the older we get, I don't want to lean down. I need something eye level, right? The older we get, we just need hovering shelves.
That's it.
Right?
You need shelves that just come to you.
Okay. I have a question. I just recently started collecting art books, manga, and comics. I'm going to tell you right now, if you just recently started, you're going to get real nerds out there that tell you the plural of manga is manga. So I'll go ahead and tell you now before you get scolded. However, only sealed products. Is this normal? I'm the same when it comes to video games. You're keeping them sealed? So you're only collecting you're collecting them to keep them sealed? Yeah, that's normal. Where the hell's Rob? Rob's one of our co-hosts. He keeps all his video games sealed. So that means Rob buys a video game like Last of Us. He'll get the deluxe edition, nice big box set, keep it sealed, and then also buy the digital copy so you can play it. So you're not alone. A lot of people do that. I don't. I like opening and reading my stuff, but no, look at behind Dan. Dan opens his stuff.
Mostly. There are a handful of things like these Super 7 figures that I'm leaving in the package because I bought them mostly for the packaging. But, other than that, I open just about everything.
I picked this question because it looked like you were yelling. Omar, when is the reprint of Conan the Barbarian original Marvel years coming out? That's a stealth reprint. Meaning it's coming. We just don't know when exactly. So it was originally supposed to be April, and surprise everybody, but pandemic happened, right? We got a different kind of bad surprise. This is still coming, and I'll double check this week. I know Uncanny X-Force, if you've been wondering, that is the first week to middle of July. So from that little time frame is when that new batch of Uncanny X-Force Omnis are coming back. Astonishing X-Men, I think, is doing the same thing, but I don't have those dates yet. But I think that's closer to the end of June.
Omar, I'd be curious to get your take on Ace McGrath's question.
Yeah.
That just came up a second ago.
Can you not pick questions yet?
No,
okay.
I can't.
I'm going to have to do something about that. Do trades ever have the same collectors and resale values as Omnis? I've only been collecting for a few years, but I've never came across a trade that's really sought after. 100%. I remember when I first started collecting, I slept on the Jeff Johns Avengers trades, right?
Like just rolled up the spine.
Red Zone. I just I didn't get them until much later. I was going through I was like, I want to have all the Avengers trades. So I started buying them, and I'm like, oh, well, these are out of print. I guess I'll go to the aftermarket. Dude, I went on eBay, and that damn Avengers Red Zone, I still have it, by Jeff Johns, was going for over $100. A small trade paperback collecting 5 issues. And it's anything in any collector's market that is sought after. Dan will tell you. People know.
Well, here's my spin on the question though. If there is an out of print trade of a story that is collected in like an omnibus or something like that, do you still see the trade going for hard to get, or is it a matter of this is out of print everywhere?
It's a matter
whatever format I can get it in.
It's usually a matter if it's out of print everywhere. I'll use the Last Avengers story. The Last Avengers story is one of my favorite Peter David books, and for years that small trade collecting only 2 issues was going for $75 to $125. I found one at a flea market, and I thought I hit the jackpot. I'm like, I found one. Yes! No one else feels this special. Whatever. And it was like $5. Years later, Marvel released a Marvel Premiere hardcover with Avengers First to Last, and it had the Last Avengers story in it, making the price of that original trade paperback go way down. I mean, so it's like whatever the newer format is, pretty much omits the prices of the previous one. Infinity Gauntlet, when they released them in Marvel Premiere format and it went out of print, same thing, $75 to $125. Marvel announced the Infinity Gauntlet Omnibus, those prices started coming down more towards like $50. But some people don't like Omnis and only like standard edition. So it's pretty much what you're willing to pay. And if I'm on eBay, and I hate to sound like this because this is what scalpers do, if I'm on eBay and I'm the only guy that's selling Avengers Red Zone, and I look at the previous prices that it's gone for, I'll bump up that price until somebody bites. That's what people do. I don't do that. I'm just saying that's what people do.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't sold on eBay and so damn long. I have watched Stargirl, and I'm a big fan of Stargirl. Big fan of Stargirl. Thank you so much, Robert, for the super chat. Bought the Absolute Batman Incorporated, but still going to get the Batman by Grant Morrison Volume 3. Are the contents for both books the same? If so, oh well. The Omnibus will have more. They'll actually have the Batman Incorporated, and there's another set of issues that weren't in Volume 2 that are in there. So if you're double dipping, that's okay.
Quick question for you, Omar. This is just a personal wondering if you happen to know. Do you happen to know whether they're doing a Monstrous hardcover?
Yeah, it's already out. There's a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I think that one might be out of print, but the ZCBS one's out of print, but the standard edition's still on.
I picked up the first 3 trades from the library right before everything closed down.
Aren't they pretty?
They are. So anyway.
Yeah. Sanaka, she's an amazing artist, man. She did some issues of Brian Reed's Miss Marvel that actually got me to pick up that series, and it was an okay series, but the art, oh my goodness, the art.
Mm-hmm.
Omar, you've said you donate books you want to get rid of. Well, there's a charity for Justin's book shelf. Yes, as a matter of fact, on my last video, I did what makes me upgrade, right? Like why I upgrade, and it's all these pretty much bullshit justification of why I do it, but whatever. people wanted to know, and I don't mind sharing. So usually what I used to do was before I had the show, I would sell them. Reddit, Facebook groups, not really eBay. I don't really deal in eBay just because eBay is just full of people that
it's a minefield.
Yeah, and there's just not that much demand. Like when these books are out of print, you can sell them for cover price sometimes. But anyway, since I started this channel and since it started growing a couple years ago, I have been giving a lot away. I have a huge stack of books. I've actually sent some out a couple weeks ago, so I think some of you all I just randomly pick comments and send some. Oh, Dan knows, he reimbursed me on the shipping. Yeah, so that's what I like to pay it forward. If I get free books, then I want to pay it forward to people that because I know what I know what it was like growing up with nothing, so I like to surprise people with like, hey, free books. We're going through some shitty times, but here's some free books. Now I haven't got any free books in a long time because of the pandemic, but hey, that's okay. Do you think we'll ever get a Spider-Man Omni reprints? 100% we will. I promise you. When? I don't know yet, but you can quote me on that. They will be reprinted. Oh, thank you, David Munoz, for the super chat. What's some advice you have for new omnibus collectors? I have the Amazing Spider-Man 1, FF1, and pre-order Uncanny 1 and Silver Surfer 1, and I just want a bunch more. New fan, by the way, and love the content. Thank you so much. Much love back to you, man. Advice: don't get crazy. And think about why you're doing it, right? Are you getting it to collect it because you're worried it's going to go out of print, or are you getting it to read it and see what all the talks about? Or if you've read them before, you want to own it in the nicest format possible. That's that's my suggestion. You know, buy it. I buy them and read them to relive those memories of having them in single issue format or going back and reading some Silver Age stuff I've never read. But as far as collecting, on this channel, I have never advised anybody to buy these books to collect to flip later, because that's just not the way my brain works. Even though there is an aftermarket when things are sought after and go out of print.
Sure.
Quick.
But I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with that with Omnis, obviously, but I always found that hollow when I would try it, because you just get to a point where you know things, and it's like, well, let's see if and it just I never. It was always never worth it to me to collect things just with the idea of, well, this will be worth something later.
Well, I mean, it depends on your mentality. Like, you and I always open up our toys.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we don't like, but if you keep them sealed, then you know that how much they're worth later on.
Yeah.
The Akira box set is coming back out into print. I want to say it's end of June or July. I can't remember. Sometime this summer, but it is coming back into print. For anybody that missed it out, you can check out my video to see how gorgeous it is. It's wonderful. It's the best way to own Akira because they don't own the rights to the color. The color is owned by Marvel. It's really weird. This is more Dan's territory. Marvel colored Akira when it was coming out in America. Different translation, and they own the rights to that. Kodansha now owns the right to the manga, originally in black and white.
Huh. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'm gonna have to jump off here, Omar, but you take care.
Thanks, brother. You
Bye,
too,
everybody.
man. Now it's on me to keep an eye on the chat. Let's see. I don't buy books to flip them. I buy them to read them. Yeah, and it's not me preaching or anything. It's just that's my mentality. It's I buy the things I want to enjoy or read. So yes, the anniversary box set is coming back into print. I think pre-orders are already available at Right Stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So check them out. They're not sponsoring this show, but Cheap Graphic Novels is. And you can check them out when they get the Akira box set. Evan, I mentioned earlier that both Cheap Graphic Novels and in-stock trades are trying to get some more. I know Cheap Graphic Novels is going outside of the Diamond to order more of the She-Hulk books. Whether they get some or not, or what discounts there'll be, if any, I don't know. So they are trying to get some more. Sorry, I'm trying to click on things. Does DC have an online catalog like Previews catalog? You're right, because they're not in previews anymore. I don't know. That the decision from DC to quit having Diamond do their distribution was really rushed. So there's not a lot of things like I don't think they have an online catalog, at least that we can access. Maybe the retailers, I don't know. Hey Omar, do you think Batman Eternal and Cable and Deadpool Omnis will get reprinted? Yes, on Cable and Deadpool sometime. I had no idea Batman Eternal went out of print. Is it out of print? I had no idea it was out of print. Why is the new X-Men out of print again? Good question. That thing is on its fourth printing. Isn't it? No, third printing. Is it out of print again? It better not be. I just busted mine up. Shit. I need to get one. They have DC Connect. Okay, there you go. Did the US Akira ever finish its run in color? Yes, it did. I own every single one of those issues in color. You're talking about from the Epic release? Mm-hmm. And then they had, this is wonderful, but in Europe, they had releases of them in hardcover collections. Those are near impossible to get, but I don't think they ever finished publishing the last one, the final one with the final issues. That's one of my, I've got them all, and I was thinking about doing a custom bind, but doing a custom bind of Akira, some of those books are expensive, and then they're all if you remember what they look like, they don't have soft covers, right? You would have to rip them out of the hardback. They're they're not flimsy covers. They're, how do I describe it? It's not a hardback. It's like somewhere in between. It's a soft hardcover, like the graphic novel days. Hi Omar, do you know something about the Injustice Deluxe hardcover 3, year 3, or a reprint of the first omnibus? First omnibus just went out of print. Not getting a reprint, probably. Well, I don't know. It's DC. They make some really odd decisions. The deluxe edition year 3 was canceled. Is what I couldn't find it in the catalog. Well, I'm sorry, it's not canceled. I can't find it in the catalog. Same case as Batwoman. It still could come out, so I don't want to start spreading rumors. Thank you, Justin, for the super chat. Don't want to start fights in the chat, but have you played The Last of Us 2 yet? What are your thoughts if you have? Have you seen the polar opposites? I was telling my brother's here this weekend. He's hanging out with me, and I saw that reviewers are trying to like break down the average score of The Last of Us 2. Like people somebody was making a comment that 60 people gave it a 0 out of 10. I haven't played it yet. I love the first one. The first one's the only game I've ever 100% in platinum. I got it for Christmas, and I finally got to play it a couple of years ago. It's freaking awesome, and I can't wait to play this one. But I'm also a realist, and I'm like, I probably won't play it for another couple of years. I don't know. Maybe I'll make an exception for this one. It looks amazing, and I'm so excited for it. But I don't know why. I've never, in my book reviews and comic reviews, I've never given anything a 0 because I, I, I don't believe in giving anything a 0. Even the crappiest comic book I ever read, because someone made the effort to write it and draw it. Why would I give this a 0? That's horrible. So I haven't played it, but I will. Yes, Air J, right? That's what you all were saying. Thank you so much. Y'all are so wonderful for helping me pronounce these names. For those interested in exploring Preacher, do you recommend trade paperback or investing in the absolutes? Is the story and art worth it? Oh, I explained that to me, Preacher is one of my favorite stories. That's why I have to have it in absolute format. I'm not the biggest Steve Dillon fan. I don't think his art is awful or anything. But I didn't buy it in absolute format because of his artwork. I bought it because of the presentation. And being one of the most important Vertigo titles to me, I had to have it in the best format. If you've never read it, maybe buy the cheap trade paperback first. Try it out that way. See if it's for you. Some people don't like it because it seems like it's written like it's almost a product of its time because it was written in the 90s. Speaking of color manga, do you think those full color trade size Dragon Ball volumes should continue? Did they discontinue that? Were they not selling enough? Man, that's crazy. I better put Zed Castillo. The Infinite Crisis Omnibus reprint is out of order, out of print, or that just came out last week, didn't it? I'm sure that's out of stock, not out of print. So tell Marvel to reprint every omnibus. Really? Even Avengers: The Crossing? I don't know how much crap I get for those. Thank you again, Robert, for the super chat. I would love for DC to reprint Tom Strong editions. Deluxe editions, right? They've done it with all the other Alan Moore ABC books, so why not love for Tom Strong? What about an absolute? Why not? Or give us the, what is it, the Promethea Inertia edition, which is the omnibus first of its kind in widescreen format. They were going to give us an omnibus with all the Promethea in a widescreen format. By the way, DC, they love trolling me because that's why I didn't get the absolutes. I'm like, I'm going to get this omnibus when it comes out. It is still on their page as coming soon. It's been there for 6 years now, teasing me. Omar, heard any news on JSA omnibus reprints? I've emailed DC about some questions about reprints and canceled omnis, and I haven't heard anything. My contact at DC left, so it's kind of getting... It's again trying to get in there talking to somebody that might actually have some answers. Were you able to get an early review copy of Berserk Volume 5? I was not. My contacts at Dark Horse haven't gotten back to me, so I'll be buying that one for sure. I mean, it's Berserk. Will we ever get an X-Men Omnibus Volume 5? There's a lot of orphan issue. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will. Marvel knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing. We'll get one. It's just, when we'll get one, I don't know. You want all of them reprinted except the Crossing? What about Muppet Babies Omnibus? That one too? Or the 90s #1 issues? You remember that one? Omar, does Marvel own the rights to Cole the Conqueror? Yes, they do. Would love to see an omnibus collecting the complete Cole. No, wait. Do they own? No. What do they have? No, I think that's DC. Hold on. I got my names mixed up. Too many barbarians. What's the one that's coming out from DC? We got Solomon Kane. That's coming out from Marvel. And then Claw. No. Oh my gosh. No, I think it is. Yeah, we are getting Marvel. Cole the Conqueror. Let me double check. I had that on an email. We're getting an omnibus of it, I think. Thought. I had it solicited. When did I have that solicited for? Originally, it was November, I think. But we should be getting that. No point in asking DC to reprint anything. I don't know what they're doing. Oh, man. It breaks my heart. I wish I had a connection at DC that would at least give me the time of day to listen. But whatever. Can't win them all, right? Tell David to make Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 2. When I highlighted the reprints, spoilers, Ultimate Spider-Man #1 was one of the top 10s. I made a note. I said with the hopes of continuing this omnibus line. So, I mean, he knows. And he also knows that, people are buying more Omnis than they used to. Such as the case with Silver Surfer reprint and the She-Hulk reprint. Yeah, so Cole's back at Marvel, and they are doing an omnibus. We're getting that later this year. So, same thing. Oh, the Ultimate Collection. I don't know. I think those Ultimate Collection, those lines are dropped. I don't think they're doing that anymore. This is a tricky one because I have no idea who owns the copyrights to that. So I managed to get the absolute version about 2 or 3 years ago, and that was from Sal. I got it from Sal. He sent me that. I bought it from him, and man, yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I think that one's stuck in copyright limbo because it's the same reason that DC versus Marvel, the omnibus, was canceled. That was solicited for years, and it finally DC or Amazon pulled it. Any chance DC will ever put Sergeant Rock? Oh man, you look at DC's line of work, like as far as collected editions, and you wonder what their thought process is, right? They are literally sitting on a gold mine. Marvel has released just about everything in omnibus format that, like the big books, right? The big crossovers, the big events. DC is still sitting on like Batman and Superman post Crisis on Infinite Earths. Let's not even talk about any of the 90s collection. And there was a lot of good 90s like Hitman, Nightwing, all the Chuck Dixon stuff. I love that stuff. All that stuff finally gets a trade paperback, gets canceled, so I don't know. It's really odd. It's an odd way to. I don't think that department is ran properly, or whoever's running the department isn't making the look. Here's a pie chart. Here's what's missing from the collected editions. We could make money because they really could. Are you going to do a Superman Batman Omni overview? Yes, as soon as I get it in, I will be doing it. I think mine still hasn't shipped. Have I read Rising Stars? I have. I love Rising Stars. It's one of the ones I'm probably going to feature on my hidden gems. It's great. Not a lot of people talk about it. Superior Spider-Man, right? I mentioned that in my why do I upgrade my trades and into absolutes or omnis. I would have lost that bet. I really thought we were going to get a Superior Spider-Man omnibus. That's why I held out so long in reading or buying those oversized hardcovers. We need a Legion of Superheroes reading order. We need a Legion of Superheroes line that is properly put, though. Like, we don't have a collected edition line that they keep canceling things. They do one or two of a series, like Legionnaires. They'll do one or two volumes. They'll do. We have all of Mark Waid's run, but then they'll do the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. They do 2 volumes of that. That's it. Drop it, and then we'll do another series. Tom Payer, and then now they're going back to hardcover format, so it predates the Darkness Saga. Like, we need them to actually release books in order to do a proper reading order. Otherwise, you're going to have 1 or 2 volumes that represents a certain era. Like, oh, here's 1 or 2 volumes of the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning era. Here's all the Mark Waid stuff. Here's the Tom Payer, 1 volume of Tom Payer stuff. Man, again, I think it all goes into like them trying to focus on way too much, and I don't know who gets to make those decisions. Let's see. I got the Revolution, Omni, and Eve of Destruction hardcover today in the mail. That is it Eve of Destruction that's out of print? Revolution was liquidated. I don't think that's out of print yet. But Shattershot is low in stock, if not out of print now. And Eve of Destruction, I think, is out of print. Yes, it is overlooked. I love Midnight Nation as well. Probably more than I do Rising Stars, but I don't know. I need to reread them, honestly. Hey, Omar, should I get the Planetary Omnibus, or is there ever there was an absolute edition coming out of Planetary, but DC just announced they're canceling one of Warren Ellis's comics that he was supposed to be featured in, a Batman comic. And that was the other news. Because of everything that's happened, all the accusations that were brought up against him, DC decided to cancel that, which I find really odd, because DC is publishing JLI Omnibus Volume 2, and one of the writers on there, that wasn't accusations. That dude was convicted and in prison. I know he's not getting paid, and I know other people worked on it, so that's why it surprises me that they canceled that. Well, they canceled his story. Absolute Planetary was announced, but I don't know if it will come out or not. I don't know. So maybe. Do you know who has the rights to Powers? The Bendis story? That should be DC. As a matter of fact, I think they're printing standard hardcovers of those. Is Infinite Crisis Omnibus out again? I think it's out of stock, not out of print. And it's weird because I don't know if Diamond has any, because like I mentioned earlier on the show, if DC is pulling everything from Diamond now, if it's just Lunar and Midtown Comics, or if it's just Lunar and Midtown Comics that's out of stock of that. So I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Do you think American comics had any big success with the horror genre? If so, can you recommend anything? Dude, get the EC line. Dark Horse just brought them back into print. Those are some of the best comic books released anywhere. EC Archives, Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, and Haunt of Fear. Get those 3 lines. They're all in print. They're all in stock. And they're all in hardcover format. They're colored. They have modern colors on them, which I know some people have issues with. I don't. So, strongly recommend those. Creepy and Eerie are good too. But if I had to recommend one for horror, and then of course Junji Ito for manga. But since you asked American, 100. Oh my god, some of the best manga ever. Harrow County, as far as some of the most recent stuff, I think it's excellent. It's by Colin Bunn. Preacher, Omnibus, or Absolute. For me, I went the Absolute route because those books, the presentation of them are just too gorgeous. They're beautiful books, and I'm glad I went that route. It's more expensive because there's only going to be 2 Omnis as opposed to 3 Absolutes. Didn't Cameron Stewart also have accusations too? Yep, Cameron Stewart's on there. I think those were a little. I think there were stronger accusations against him than there were Warren Ellis. And it was weird timing because I did my top 20 favorite writers of all time. My part 1, I had Warren Ellis on there, and then people started commenting. But I knew about it. I knew about the accusations. But this is Omar speaking. I don't speak for my channel. I don't speak for anybody else. I have always been able to separate the artist from the art, and I know that doesn't work for everybody. I still listen to Michael Jackson. It's just me. It's the way that I think. And even though I knew about the accusations, and they're accusations now, even though they should be taken seriously, I still decided to leave Warren Ellis on my list because that doesn't change the fact of how his writing, um, you know, like how I enjoyed his writing in the past, and we'll probably continue to read his stuff as long as he gets published. I don't know what's going to happen after that. Do you have an opinion on Archie comics? I used to read them as kids. I really don't have an opinion now. Like I read, what was the Archie versus the Punisher? There was a Mark Waid Archie comic. I never got to read that one, but I heard it was pretty good with artwork by Fiona Staples. Does Marvel have any planned box sets coming out too? Yes, they do. I can't say a word, but I'm excited for the box set. I hope I get to announce it. Yes, good question. So there is another box set they have plans to make, and I can't wait to tell you all what it is. The Warren Ellis controversy is tragic. It seems like the women were of age. I hate that these things are coming out a decade or two later. Not devaluing the women claim. No, you're not. You're not. It just seems odd. I think with anything like this, and this is just my opinion, like, they don't have anything to gain, right? It's Warren Ellis. So I don't know why wait so long. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I can't speak for them, so I don't know. I have very little to add to that conversation. Mainly because right now we're in the stages of accusations, right? Did they orphan some issues in the Infinite Crisis new edition? No. The Infinite Crisis actually just has a new cover, which I think is freaking gorgeous, and has the same content. So whenever they do reprints, it's always the same contents, unless it's like the Flash. It changed the mapping of the way they did it. Omar, do you think Dark Horse will give us the deluxe edition of Lone Wolf and Cub? I hope so. We're getting what? Hellsing Deluxe Edition, we have Berserk Deluxe Edition, and we're getting a Blade of the Immortal. Guys, we got to buy those Blade of the Immortals. They already solicited all 3 of the Hellsing Deluxe Edition, so there's only going to be 3 and that's it. And they're wonderful, but Blade of the Immortal, for me, is top 5 favorite manga of all time. And, oh my god, the artwork alone is freaking beautiful. All right, Chad, I'm off to buy Infinite Crisis from IST. Everyone have a good day. Take care, Green Lantern. Good luck. Do you have news about the DC Rebirth Deluxe Editions? Do you think they'll stop collecting them? I think they're done. I think they're not. Green Arrow got one. The canceled Aquaman never came out. I think they're done with that line. The only one that's continuing in Deluxe Edition is Batman. And then we've gotten Detective Comics. We have Solicitation, and it looks like with the price and how many issues are collected, it looks like it's going to be deluxe. But somebody told me that the trim size, looks like it's going to be standard hardcover. Who knows? Homar, the hell's wrong with me? Uncanny Omar talk pretty one day. Omar, do you know if Humanoids Jodorowsky Mobius the Fifth Essence number 5 and 6 hardcover is a continuum of the Incal but different editions? Aren't those the big editions of the Incal story? I can't remember. 5 and 6. I think there were 6 of them. It is kind of confusing because when I was trying to get the Incal about whenever they got the rights here, they had the coffee books, they had the slipcase editions, and then they had those huge oversized. No, those are the coffee books. And then they had the standard trim size one, and that's the one I went for because I had never read it up until whenever they announced that. Are the Sandman Omnibus better than the Absolutes? I went the Absolute route because much like the case of Preacher, they're beautiful. Now, there's only 3 Sandman Omnis that include everything, Overture and Death and what's the Nights and Nocturnes? I can't remember the 5th one. But anyway, I went the Absolute route, and there's 7 of those, so that's another thing to keep in mind. So the Hill House books are great modern horror comics too. Check those out. We need more Star Wars Omnis. Yeah, I'm worried that the Star Wars Omnibus didn't sell that well. And that's why we don't have as many as we should, which sucks. Because I would love a Volume 2. I would love a Dr. Aphra. I would love a Darth Vader too. What's up, Gwen? Which series do you think will fully be collected in omnibus format first? Woo! Like, not current material, but at least the last decade or so. Amazing Spider-Man, Uncanny. I think X-Men, both are really good guesses, though. I think X-Men probably will, just because of everything that has come out. Like, there's more X-Men OHCs that look like Omnis and Omnis than Spider-Man. So as the Uncanny Omar, I'm loving that. But I would love for everything eventually, right? I have daydreamed for years about owning all the Marvel stuff in omnibus format, to have shelves full of like X-Men, Fantastic Four, X Factor, Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers, Captain America. Even though I sold my Captain America Silver Age stuff. Okay, let's see. Have you read the JMS autobiography, Becoming Superman? It's so good. No, but I've heard about it. Uh, but I have not read it. And I've heard everybody say that it's good. Oh, thank you, Joe Cool, for reminding me. I always forget to ask people. Please smash that like button. Yeah, if you're enjoying this content. Thank you so much, everybody. I love talking to all of you. And if you weren't here earlier, my wife can't join me on Saturdays anymore because of her schedule at work. So hopefully she'll be back. But she does say that she loves you all and misses you all too, because she really enjoyed doing this. Hey, Omar, when do you think we'll know when X-Men Omnibus by Claremont and Lee comes out? Claremont and Lee. Didn't I announce that? I think it's January, isn't it? January has that. Moon Knight, and March is Thunderbolts, I think. It was in the September solicitations, I want to say. What happened to the Silver Surfer Omnibus? The same thing that happened to She-Hulk. And it's so odd. And I want to talk to David. Hopefully he can talk this week, because I know a lot of my UK watchers, a lot of my Australian subscribers, you all have been asking me what's going on with She-Hulk. Like, none of you, like, there were 0 that came from the pre-orders were being canceled overseas. Even the American pre-orders were being canceled. So I don't know what happened exactly. I hope there are more batches of this. I'll tell you, the She-Hulk, David didn't even get a copy of She-Hulk. And he's the guy that runs that department. He didn't even get a copy. So that's how low stock it was. That's how crazy that went out. That went back ordered way before like some places were even able to order, because of the diamond shutting down, the pandemic, other like, it's crazy. So I hope it does come back. I hope there's another batch. And those are questions I have for him over the phone. I have a lot of questions for him when I talk to him. I'm not a big Marvel guy, but I'm praying to the Omni gods for those Amazing Spider-Mans 2 to 4 reprints. Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2, that was in the top 10 most reprinted. I'll do that list sometime this week so you all can see. It's the ones that you all voted for. But it break it to the top 10. Whether it gets reprinted or not, I don't know, but I think they will. What would you say is the best Green Arrow run? Damn, what a good question. I love questions like this. I'd be a fool not to say Mike Grell's run. But I'm a big fan of Judd Winnick's run and Chuck Dixon's run too. Chuck Dixon's run was a little different, of course, because it featured Connor Hawke and Les Oliver, Queen, and I'm not going to spoil why. But damn. All right, Mike Grell's run. Mike Grell's. Yeah. Frank Miller's Daredevil is still in print. Yep. What's up, Warren? I'm planning on buying the 10 Scott Snyder Batman trade soon, but I don't want to if the Omni's going to be reprinted. Thoughts? My thoughts are, I had no idea the Omnibus was out of print until somebody asked me a week ago. 2, my second thought is they haven't even announced Volume 2. I'm surprised. Volume 1 came out last fall, right? Maybe they'll announce. I'm sure they'll reprint it with a Volume 2. That's kind of why I wish I had talked to somebody that makes decisions there to understand how they do things. Irredeemable, probably, and it sucks to say this, probably will not come back out in oversized hardcover format, because they're releasing them in, omnibus format, but they're the softcover omnibus. That's why I'm saying probably not. Spider-Going question. I have volumes 1 to 3. Third one on back states Spider-Gwen 2015, 16 to 23, and Spider-Man 12 through 14. Third one on the back states. I'm sorry. Are you Leslie? Are you asking if like where the other books are collected? I know that Spider Gwen oversized hardcover volume 4 was canceled. Sadly, Marvel hardly cancels books, but the sales didn't justify a fourth one. So I'm hoping that one gets a omnibus, especially with a new Spider Verse movie coming out sometime. Yeah. I saw your video on Justice League Origin Deluxe Edition. Do you think they're gonna print the entire series in that format? La Muerte. I don't know. I'd love to say yes, but I think they're dipping their. I don't understand the way they do deluxe editions. They're doing that, right? And they're doing the Brad Meltzer run in deluxe edition next. So why not just focus on one run? Why not give us just the Justice League deluxe editions? Because we have that, we have the Dark Side War. Um, but instead of that, they're going back with something that happens what 8 years prior to New 52. Or I'm sorry, 7 years prior to New 52 with Brad Meltzer's run, which happens after Infinite Crisis. Like, what's the point of just doing one deluxe edition per decade? It goes back to when somebody asked if I could do a reading order of Legion of Superheroes. I'd love to, but they really haven't released that many in chronological order. They're all over the place. They're kind of sporadic about it. I don't know what they're doing, honestly. I hope they do, but I don't know. Do you think DC has plans to make Batman War Games, Batman and Robin Eternal Omnibus? It's nice touch to have the Batman and Robin Eternal since we had a Batman Eternal. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know if there's so many Batman stories that like could be collected in omnibus format, right? Contagion, the Joker's Last Laugh, Legacy, War Games, War Drums, No Man's Land. We're finally getting a prelude to No Man's Land, so that kind of gives me some hope. A proper prelude to Nightfall would be awesome, including the issues of Sword of Azrael, which for some fucking reason was not included in the very first. Oh, that one really aggravates me. I think anybody that ever saw my videos when I'm talking about the Nightfall collections, they've had 4 chances to collect Nightfall properly. The thin trade, the thick trades, the thicker trades, and the omnibus. And each one of them got them wrong. There's no they didn't collect Sword of Azrael in any of those. And Sword of Azrael is the story that introduces you to the dude that's going to replace Batman. So if you're reading them, all of a sudden you're like, you may know Dick Grayson, you may know Tim Drake, but then you're like, who's this John Paul Valley guy that's taking over the role of Batman? Why is he taking the cowl? That character was introduced in Sword of Azrael, and none of those collections have those 4 issues. Written by the late Dennis O'Neil, with beautiful artwork by Joe Quesada. Who subscribed to you first? My mom, maybe? I wish I was kidding. I think it was my mom or my wife. Somebody. Do you see a DC Metal Omnibus? I did 2 years ago when Scott Snyder said there would be an omnibus. This is coming out of the creator's mouth. But then again, I forgot that Peter Tomasi said a Green Lantern Corps omnibus was coming 5 years ago when I talked to him at a convention. And that never came. And it still hasn't come. Not only that, but a Sword of Azrael is awesome. You're damn right, dude. That was a good story. Beautiful artwork, too. And jumping the Snyder Justice League. Yeah. Snyder Justice League is getting the deluxe treatment. So I guess we'll see. Omar, do you think the Paul Dini Batman Omnibus will be worth picking up to just get the Hush Absolute? The Paul Dini stories in Batman are freaking awesome, and nobody should miss them. But it pisses me off that they're leaving out. I don't mind so much the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, because you can get that hardcover. They did the same thing with the Morrison Omnis. They left out the complete, but it's the issues that are not written by Paul Dini from the Gotham. So that means I have to keep my what is the Gotham? Not what are they called? The Batman Gotham, whatever the Batman Gotham Knights or whatever that he wrote. His ongoing series after the death of Bruce. Like they're orphaning issues, and I hate when Omnis do that. It's one of my biggest pet peeves because we are 15 years into these Omnis, and I guess DC is more like 12, 13, but they should know better. They should know people gripe about these things. When they released the Death and Return of Superman Omnibus, the very first printing, they left out every single Matrix issue, every single Matrix panel. Matrix was the Supergirl at that time. She wasn't Supergirl, but she was still. I'm not gonna spoil it. It's honestly a confusing storyline until Peter David took over Supergirl. But they were introducing Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner's new Supergirl, so they were like, nope, we're omitting those stories like they never happened. And people were pissed. And honestly, the first printing of that Superman Death and Return is kind of crappy. Nobody should get it. It's standard size and it's got newsprint paper quality instead of glossy paper. So what is collected on the War of the Realms? Is it worth the read? I really enjoyed War of the Realms, and it finishes out, kind of wraps up everything that Jason Aaron did. So perhaps, to me, it's worth picking up, and it contains everything. I remember when David texted me, he was like, "It's going to contain everything," and I mean everything. And when I looked at that solicitation, it's got over 1,500 pages. It is Marvel's biggest omnibus. So it's interesting to see how that compares to like DC's biggest omnis, which is what, Blackest Night or Final Crisis, one of those two. In Italy, we have a Metal Omnibus. I remember when was years ago, before we got the Clone Saga Omnibus, I think in Russia, I was on eBay and I found like a Russian copy of the Clone Saga Omnis. There were two of them. It's crazy, like, because in different countries there's different copyrights, and so therefore different publishers can publish their own Omnis. So yeah, that's really cool. So in Italy they have a DC Metal Omnibus already. They beat us to the punch. Omar, if you took out X-Men, do you have more Marvel continuity or DC continuity knowledge? Marvel for sure. 100% Marvel. That's because to me, I started reading Marvel, when I was, let's see, I had my appendix taken out, 7. So from 7 all the way up until 10 or 11 is when I started, when I read solely Marvel, and that's it. And then after that, I got into DC with Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was so confusing, but I loved being confused. I was like, why is there an old Superman and a young Superman, and then this kid Superman? And it took me about 2 years to figure all that out. Like, it was great. But yeah, for sure, Marvel. How can one find out when an absolute like Blackest Night will be released? Keep an eye on the channel. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. No, I'm just kidding. Solicitations usually come early. I'm trying to get early solicitations from DC, but they don't. They send them to me the night before everybody else has them, and by that time it's like 3 o'clock my time, and I'm just like, I'll look at it on Saturday. Whereas Marvel is kind enough to send me just the collected editions 2 weeks before anybody else has it. Like, I think just yesterday, all the other websites got the Marvel solicitations, and we looked at them through that episode 2 weeks ago, I think. So they treat us nice. Marvel's great. Miss Marvel Volume 2 is taking forever. My brother, that's my daughter's first heartbreak. She finished reading Miss Marvel Omnibus Volume 1, and she asked me where the second volume was, and I said, I don't know, baby. We're going to have to wait. Welcome to my world. I'm still waiting. At that time, it was like, I'm still waiting on, like, Uncanny X-Men Volume 4. What's up, brother? John the Sook, where did you get that sweet shirt from? My wife bought this from me. I want to say it was a clothing store, so I don't think she ordered it online or anything. So thank you, man. I love this shirt too. I had an X-Men one. I don't know. I think somebody borrowed it. Who borrows a damn shirt? Thor Aaron Omnibus. When and how many? Thanks, Omar. You're welcome. Jaggernaut. Love that name. When? I don't know. Speculation. This is Uncanny Omar talking, not Marvel. Speculation. When we get the date for that Thor Blood and what is it called? Love and Thunder movie. That's the Jane Foster movie, right? I'm thinking Volume 1 will be Thor, God of Thunder. And that will release a year before that movie comes out. Volume 2, when that movie comes out, will be the Jane Foster stuff, so Mighty Thor. And then Volume 3 will be all the stuff that leads into the War of the Realms. So we'll have a total of 4 with War of the Realms. That's just me speculating. I don't work for Marvel. It's how I would map it out. But I will also include the Thor story, the unworthy Thor, and things like that. So that's just me speculating. So whenever that movie comes out is when you'll kind of get an idea of when they'll get it. I recently got a shirt of the periodic table, but oh god, I want that. Where'd you get that? I think Target has that shirt. There you go. Yeah, and DBC All Star agrees when Thor, Love and Thunder. I said Blood and Thunder. Blood and Thunder is an actual crossover with like Silver Surfer and stuff in the 80s. Omar, what are your thoughts on CrossGen? Will the series ever be collected again? I think that Marvel owns the rights to CrossGen now, and much like the Ultraverse, I don't think it'll ever be collected. I loved CrossGen. Scion was my jam with Ron Mars and Jimmy Chung. Sojourn. That's Sojourn. I'm not the biggest Greg Land fan, but his art on Sojourn gets a freaking pass because I love he uses a light box and he traces. But when you throw in mystical dragons and fantasy elements, for some reason, that's okay with me, right? I don't know why. I know people hate on Greg Land, but for me, he gets a pass because it throws fantasy elements in. And so I was a big fan, and I was disheartened when the company broke. And then the guy that founded, like he passed away last year, sadly. That sucks. Omar, is the Absolute Carnage Omnibus only going to have one cover? Yes. We don't want to go crazy and have direct market covers for everything, right? Omar, what I respect about you in this channel is what brings me back is that you get the list of omnibus and don't sell yours off. Oh, thanks, man. Yes, that's insiders trading, right? People have been fired, and yeah, I don't know, dude. I think it's. Thank you so much, by the way. I'm not the most religious person. I guess I'm Catholic by heart. And being Catholic is like being in the mob. You can never read it out. That's what I've been told by my Catholic priest, one of my best friends. He, maybe it's karma. Like I'm like, if I do that, that's so wrong. Like I could make money, but I don't want to. I don't know. It would feel weird to me. Maybe it's maybe it's where I grew up with nothing. Coming from Peru, and I would just feel horrible taking advantage of people. I don't like doing that. I don't want to take advantage of anybody. And like, if I ever find out that Inferno is going to be reprinted, selling mine on there, like I would feel horrible if somebody paid $300 for it. Then karma would come and bite my ass. I don't want that. But thank you so much. Hello, Omar. Just wanted to know your opinion on run on X-Men. June, you're new to the channel. I'm planning to buy, but heard reviews were bad. Your opinion would be great help since I'm new to reading comics. My opinion is just that. Keep that in mind. My opinion is just my opinion. It should not. You shouldn't base purchasing something on just my opinion because I'm just a dude that reads comics and I have my favorites and my least favorites. My list of top writers are different than everybody else's list, and that's okay. I am not a fan of Bendis' X-Men. His Uncanny was a little bit better. His all new started pretty fun, and there were some moments. But I'm not a fan of it. And his Guardians of the Galaxy broke my heart because his Guardians of the Galaxy was coming off of the Thanos Imperative and Annihilators, the DNA, what is known as the DNA Cosmic Odyssey, and it was like he took everything that they worked so hard for in 5 years and just broke it. Oh man. It broke my heart. I'm not the biggest Bendis fan, but I will say if you're new to reading comics, you 100% would really benefit from reading his X-Men and his Guardians of the Galaxy because they're new reader friendly. 100%. Even though I feel strongly like I don't like them, I think new readers would benefit from it. Like I'm not the biggest fan of New Avengers or Avengers Assembled, but I realize that it's so good for new readers to get into the Avengers. So that's just my opinion. Hey, Omar, do you know when they'll continue Marvel Zombies Resurrection? And do you know if they'll reprint the Marvel Omnibus? The Omnibus is a hard sell, mainly because it took so long to. It was liquidated for 2 years, first of all. That means that it was going for like $30 for 2 years on eBay, some comic book stores. People had a hard time getting rid of it. So it's. I know it's a different market now, but back then when it was liquidated, it was hard for them to justify a reprint. And as far as the resurrection, I don't know when they'll continue it. Come on, César. Tú sabes. Yo soy peruano. Turrón de Doña Pepa, hermano. Yes. He's asking what I prefer, churros or turrón. But he knows I'm Peruvian, so I have to go with turrón. And turrón de Doña Pepa. Hijo de puta. Oh my gosh. Sorry. My Latin roots sometimes come out. If Marvel owns CrossGen, why won't they collect? For the same reason they don't collect Ultraverse. Different universes. Doesn't affect the sales of their ongoing stuff. They have way too many properties. I think they just own the rights because they acquired things. And, right? I mean, there's a lot of companies that do that. Like Viz owns the rights still to this day to Osamu Tezuka's Phoenix. Go look up Osamu Tezuka's Phoenix, like any random volume on eBay, and see how much they go for. And you'll see why fanboys like me want it reprinted. It is horrifying to look at the prices of something that they still have the copyrights to, but haven't re-released. I think, and then sometimes, honestly, publishers just forget. If it's not Spider-Man, if it's not Annihilation, why bring another universe in, right? You already have the Ultimates, you have the Epic line, so... Omar's waiting for the Trouble Adamantium collection. Dude. One of the top 10 least favorite stories of all time is that stupid Trouble. I remember David was on. He was in the chat when somebody made that joke. Like, how about an absolute or an OHC of Trouble? And he said no. Oh, and then the other one was Marvel by Belgian Moss. What are your thoughts on Titans Rebirth? I can't read the second question because that's a spoiler for people. I was not happy with the answer to the second question because that happens in Heroes in Crisis. I thought they was stupid. I wasn't the biggest fan of Heroes in Crisis. And Titans Run the Rebirth was pretty fun. A discounter in the UK had a table of Marvel era cross-gen trades for £50. Can't see it being considered profitable. Yeah, sadly, right? Even though there was a lot of talent behind cross-gen. A lot of talent. Near mint condition, come for the book, stay for the beard. My man. My man. Have you read the 80th anniversary issues or 750? I haven't yet. I'm waiting. Insider trading. That's right, man. I don't want to do that. Besides, I think anybody would know, right? Like they would know that I'm selling. They know my table. They know my background. I can't take pictures in this house. Maybe upstairs. But nah, that's not the reason I do it. I love I love Monstrous. Do you recommend for anything in the same vein? Yes. I like Marjorie Liu a lot. And that series was so freaking awesome. And I'm glad they're continuing it. Let's see here. Black Science, Saga, East of West. If you like that kind, Rat Queens, and I'm trying to think of the other series that I would strongly recommend that you can easily get. I would say Mice Templar, but those hardcovers are out of print. Man, what's another sci-fi? A good sci-fi Descender. If you want to check that out, beautiful artwork. I know what you mean, Omar. I haven't been Catholic for years, but the guilt didn't leave. It's a Catholic guilt, right? That's what my wife calls it, Catholic guilt. Bendis X-Men was dope. See, people really like it. It's just my opinion, though. Mine is not. Doesn't mean more than anybody else's. What did you think of Bendis in general? I don't like a lot of his work. Same. I think he's a wonderful human being, though. I've been to conventions with friends that are huge Bendis fans, and he takes his time with every single fan. And the things he does for the community, the things he does for his kids, for children, children's hospitals. Dude, Bendis is awesome. He's a great dude. So I don't know. I was never a big fan of his writing, and I hate saying that. And I've tried. Love Bendis' X-Men run. It's a hangout book, quiet moments, Not about the plot, about the feelings. So there you have it. See, there are a lot of people that like it. In my opinion, does not mean more than theirs. Isn't it actually Disney that owns CrossGen? Well, yes, Disney owns CrossGen, but by that, right? Yeah, they own Marvel owns it too. Do you like the least recently released Superman Batman book? I'm still waiting for mine to ship. Mine hasn't shipped yet. I swear this damn virus is just slow down everything. Bianca, hello from Brazil. Hey, I was your neighbor. Peruano aquí. Yeah, I grew up in Peru. Well, I grew up here in America, but I'm from Peru. What was your first comic book you have ever seen? When I was in Peru, I collected this series called Condorito. I don't know if South Americans remember that series or if it was available in Europe. But when I was 7 years old, I had my appendix removed. So I had appendicitis. I was in the hospital in a free children's clinic for 4 or 5 days. My uncle sent a care package from America and sent me issue of Uncanny X-Men 168. And even though I could not read English, that forever changed my life. Obviously. Hey Omar, so how does the DC Absolutes compare to the library editions of Dark Horse in terms of binding and paper quality? Which ones do you prefer? I honestly I love the DC Absolutes. I think they're wonderful, beautiful editions. That's something that they've done that Marvel really hasn't. Most of them. The Absolute Swamp Thing that came out last year that they're reprinting had horrible binding, but most of them have really good binding. At least the ones that I own. I've never had an issue with them. Do you think we'll get a Spider-Man box set? I think so. Yeah, I think there will probably be a Spider-Man box set. Look how well that X-Men box set sold out. When I released my video, I mentioned that it was already low in stock at Diamond. It was already like high in demand, and then it went like that. And then of course the pandemic happened, so God knows when they'll find some more. Imagine if that actually happened. I'll stop reading comics for a week. Let's see. I thought Bendis was Omar's favorite writer. Guess he'll be Mark Miller. I'll take Bendis over Mark Miller any day. Omar, halfway through my Wolverine omnibus, it's good. Get to know Wolverine Omni, but that Kitty Pryde story. Oh yeah, people have a problem with. I love the story. I love that story. It's Al Milgram's artwork that a lot of people had issues with. To me, it really changes the character and the dynamic of Wolvie and Kitty Pryde. She becomes her own person, right? Even though she's 15 at the time. Oh, I love that miniseries. The artwork could have been better. Are there any omnis that DC canceled that you're most disappointed by, like Impulse and Man of Steel? Yeah. Personally, I am disappointed in a lot of what DC cancels. Man of Steel, that one hurt personally. Like that one is the one that I said, come on, why? Why would you cancel this and then release it as a standard size hardcover, not even a deluxe edition? What do you? What? I know not everybody's an omnibus fan, but that's a sure sell. And the one that hit the most for me that I wish they hadn't done was the Starman omnibus, because even though I own them, I was gonna buy it again, and I wanted everybody to experience it because it's one of the most beautifully written comics. And I think everybody needs a chance to read it. Yes, you can read it digitally, but come on, damn it. People don't come to this channel because they read digital comics. People come to this channel because we like collected editions. I discovered that Chris Claremont came back to X-Men after Chuck Austin. How was that run? That was his third time writing X-Men, so his second return. Started off with a baseball game. Alan Davis on artwork. It's called X-Men Reloaded. Nothing compares to the 17 years that he wrote X-Men. So it's not as good, of course. It was hit and miss. There were some good moments. Can you show off your Nightwing custom bind? Okay, that is one thing I don't do on this channel, is show them off just because of legality reasons and stuff, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I will say that if you look on eBay, just like I do, I have a custom search saved on my eBay. Anytime they pop up, I can find some of those custom Omnis. They are out there. They're expensive, and I only get the ones that I'm like, yeah, DC ain't gonna do that. So, do you own the Marvel's Platinum Edition slipcase? I don't. I don't anymore. I had the not anymore. I never got it. Sorry. I had the Wolverine Adamantium collection, and I just thought there's no continuing this. Yeah, there's no continuing this, so I stopped and I sold it. It's just too big, and I think too pricey. Hey Omar, how does the DC? Oh, you already answered it. Sorry. With the upcoming release of Mike Grell's Green Arrow, keeping our fingers crossed that it's still coming out, and his work on Green Lantern, Green Arrow, any chance of DC collecting his Warlord? Right. Last year I released my top 20 most wanted DC Omnis. That's what I wanted. Warlord is up there. Of course, I got greedy. I wanted all the Warlord, but I will take the Mike Grell Warlord any day. You say sure sell, but what are the profit margins on these books? They can't be cheap to make. It would be nice to know a breakdown, though I doubt no publisher would be willing to tell us the details. No, you're right. I don't think they would. They can't be cheap to make. I know at Marvel, and I don't know any of the actual details, but I know at Marvel it is harder for them to justify a reprint of an Epic collection. That's why epics, when they go out of print, are harder to reprint, mainly because of the profit margin. It's not as much as an omnibus. It's not as much as a Masterworks, because remember, it costs as much just to restore one of those epic collections as it does a Masterwork, and sometimes even more. And a Masterwork sells for $75 to $100, where the retail price of a Marvel Epic collection is $39.99 to $45. So you don't have to be a mathematician to see that, oh yeah, we're really not making that much off of these, even though they sell well, when we can just print 300 or 400 Masterworks and make just as much. So that's why it's really difficult for Marvel to reprint those. But that's a good question. I think there is a higher profit margin with hardcovers, though. Hey, Indonesians don't get trades immediately, so our choice is to read digitally. My bad. Yeah. Well, then you're more than welcome to watch. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't calling anybody out. Omar, your opinion on Doom Patrol by John Byrne? I passed. I didn't like it that much, but I know there are people that do. My Doom Patrol will always be Grant Morrison's run. That run is so freaking stellar. Hey Omar, are you the kind of comic reader who prefer to read finished comics in a series or parallel, or it depends? It depends. Um, Obviously, I don't mind ongoing series. I'm still reading X-Men every month. Still read Spider-Man. So, as far as finished, yeah. Sometimes I'll wait for especially if it's like Image. Sometimes I'll wait for the series to wrap up before reading it all. That's what I did with Chew. I waited till the Chew final volume. My brother read it before I did. He had the trade paperbacks. And I'm glad I did. I did the same thing with Lock and Key. Waited till the 6 hardcover came out. What is the best way to get a new dust jacket? I have Damaged Astonishing X-Men that hurts my soul. Well, Marvel and DC don't really have a system, right? They don't reprint these things. Just dust jackets. But there are guys on Reddit and in Facebook that do commission stuff that I've seen. I've got a couple. If I wasn't just me, I'd go get my Runaways. But I had somebody do a commission Runaways because I didn't like what I called the skin tone color on the Runaway spine, so I got a black spine on it. My X-Force, there's a guy named Paul that made me a new one. He's an awesome Photoshop master. That instead of it saying X-Force and Cable, or I'm sorry, Deadpool and X-Force, it's X-Force Volume 2, which is what it really is. So there are people out there. You just have to look Reddit or Facebook groups, and either they'll print it out for you and send it to you, or they'll give you the file to print it out. Just got the Uncanny X-Force. Saw it on your channel. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. I say thank you so much like I wrote it. Yeah. It's a pretty... I wish they would do the X-Force by Colin Yost. To me, that was a better X-Force run, but that's just my opinion. Even though I liked Uncanny X-Force. I just... Thoughts on 5 Years by Terry Moore. I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited for it. Really excited for it. I've never been disappointed by Terry Moore. Can they make original dust jackets too, not only custom ones? Yeah. Yeah. They do. They do. Like for people that custom bind their books, they do. They're out there. You just have to look for people. Let's see here. Oh, I already answered this, Spider Fan, but I'll answer again. Do you think we'll get a Spider-Man box set? I think so. I think the sales of X-Men box set were great, and I think we'll get one. Venom by recommender. The book needs reprinting or an omni. You know the omnibus is coming, and that will be a volume 4. We'll get a Venom Omnibus volume 3, and then Venom or Agent Venom Omnibus or whatever they're going to call it will be volume 4, and it'll probably be Venom Omnibus by Rick Remender. You know if Irredeemable will be reprinted in OHC? Somebody asked me that earlier. I thought that was you. I'd already answered. Probably not. Boom has a hard time reprinting those things, and they're doing a softcover omnibus, so probably not. Omar, what are your favorite DC runs? Man, okay. Gotham Central, Starman by James Robinson, Man of Steel by Man of Steel by John Byrne. I'm a big fan of that run. I just mentioned Green Arrow, Mike Grell. Williams, Messner Loeb's Wonder Woman. It's probably the most underrated comic book run in DC. Or I'm sorry, Wonder Woman run in DC. Batman. Oh man, I like the Chuck Dixon, Dennis O'Neil years. So the post like Nightfall stuff, Prodigal, all the stuff that was post Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's some of my favorite. And Manhunter. I don't know if y'all read that by Mark. Andreyko? Is that how you say his last name? That was a really underrated series. Judd Winnick's run on Green Arrow was solid. His run on Green Lantern, the Kyle Rayner stuff was great. Ron Marr's run on Green. I have a lot. So I hope that answers your questions. Well, what's up, man? What would you say a fair price to pay for an out-of-print Blackest Night Absolute? People pay up to $600. I have a rule. I don't pay anything cover price, like above cover price. I can't. Even if it's something limited, even if it's... Because there's always a chance, unless it's limited and numbered, that they might come back into print. So that's my justification. Have I ever read Power Rangers? Yes. I wasn't a fan of the show. My brothers used to watch it when they were younger. Love the comic book. I have no ties to these characters, but I love the Kyle Higgins stuff. So I have all 3 of the hardcovers, and I did pre-order the 4th one. But Marjorie Bennett's run, just, I don't know, it's not as good. Omar loved Messner Loeb's Wonder Woman. Very underrated. Oh, I also forgot Peter David's run on Supergirl and Aquaman. Chuck Dixon's run on Nightwing. Gail Simone's run on Birds of Prey. All those. Love to have all that in omnibus format. What are your thoughts on the 80s run of Fallen Angels? The X-Men run by Joe Duffy? I liked it. It was fun. I have the trade paperback. Ooh. You had to ask about this one, didn't you? What are your thoughts on V for Vendetta? I don't know if I was just coming off of that Alan Moore high, reading Swamp Thing, reading League, reading Watchmen. I just wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of V for Vendetta. I actually liked the movie more, and I know that sounds blasphemous, but I just was not a fan of V for Vendetta. That's my opinion, though. So that's why I didn't get the absolute V for Vendetta. Omar, are you looking forward to the Morbius omnibus that's coming out? Yeah. 100%, man. I'm really excited for it. Thoughts on Gotham City Sirens? I love the Paul Dini stuff. So that's why I got the omnibus. And the omnibus collects the stuff outside of Paul Dini, too. Thoughts on Batman Tom King's run? It's a roller coaster. I hated it at first. Those first 6 issues did nothing for me. The second 6 issues, they were solid. Third arc was great. So it's hit and miss. Do you think the one limited edition Gideon Falls hardcover will match up with any future hardcovers that? I think if they go the hardcover route, it'll be an all-in-one hardcover. Or not all-in-one. They'll do oversized hardcovers, library editions, probably. It's Jeff Lemire. I feel the same way about, oh my gosh, Birthright. They did a limited edition hardcover. It was the Skyborn Studios. I can't remember who did. I think like when it's collected in hardcover, it will be an oversized hardcover, and they'll continue it. Stephanie Brown is back as spoiler. She needs a new run. She does. And you know what we need? We need Chris Yost and Fabian Nicias' Red Robin collected. That stuff has been out of print, had one printing. Nobody even mentions it anymore. Omar, can you read Artifacts by Ron Mars? Yeah. So Artifacts is the crossover at Top Cow. So it's like part of the Darkness and Witchblade universe. But you can read it without reading all the other stuff. Omar, what space opera manga do you recommend? Mother freaking Captain Harlock was my youth, man. So that's what I go to. I also like the Space Battleship Yamato, the manga. And man, the one I recommend is completely out of print, but it's one of my favorites. It's called Twin Spica. Oh my god. That that one hits me. I love Twin Spica. It was printed in America by Vertical Comics. How dare I? What's up, Hugo? I dare a lot, I know. I want a Secret 6 Omnibus or trades reprints with Gail Simone. I would love a Secret 6. I prefer her Birds of Prey run a little more, but that's just my opinion. Ooh, better Batman run, Tinian or King? Tinian. I love his detective run. I'm glad it's getting an omnibus. God, y'all, we got some hard questions today. Favorite Brian K. Vaughan book? Why The Last Man? Why The Last Man? All the way. Depends on how Saga ends, right? I love Saga, but it could end crappy. But, man, Why The Last Man? Have you read any Lady Death? Brian Pulido's Lady Death was... I used to... When I collected single issues, I had her first appearance in Evil Ernie, and then I had her first ongoing series, and yeah, it was okay. I haven't read anything since then, though. Any news on Saga? I hope because of this COVID-19 that they've actually been at home working on this, right? I don't know what else Brian K. Vaughan could be working on, but maybe hopefully they'll surprise us with like, hey, we've been working on this while everybody's been at home. Yeah. How is Azzarello's Wonder Woman? I think it's a good run. It's a lot different than most of the Wonder Woman runs because it's got like a lot of horror elements in it. Am I going to pick up the Maison Koku Collector's Edition? I am. Viz was going to send me a package actually, and it was supposed to come last week, and it never did. So I need to reach out to them and see what happened. That's one of my wife's favorite mangas. So I was really excited. They were taking a year off. Yep, they were taking a year off. So I want them to come back and say, hey, new issue comes out this Wednesday. How awesome would that be? Oh, so both have mentioned on Instagram they're working on Saga right now. They're finishing the full arc before releasing, and that's how you do it. Omar, did you see the Batman cover with the cast Batgirl? No. Is she back as being Batgirl, or is she still being Orphan? I don't know. What should I read from Donny Cates? God Country. Read God Country. It's all in one, 6 issues, trade paperback. There's a limited edition hardcover release that was available only at comic book stores, but God Country. That's what I followed that man after that. I think they're doing a movie now. Omar, did you ever read the Azzarello Manipool Dr. 13 mini? It's a trade. No, I haven't. Doctor 13? Like the 13th Doctor? Doctor Who? Is that what we're talking about? Because I have not read that. There's a variant, and it looks like she's Batgirl. I hope that's in the comics. I love her. Oh, I used to be a big fan of John Byrne's X-Men. I was printed over at Dark Horse. I was a big fan because I liked his stuff on Alpha Flight. I liked his stuff on Fantastic Four, and of course his X-Men. And yeah, it was hit and miss. So it's hit and miss. I haven't read it in years. I don't have any of them collected in any edition, but it was hit and miss. Love the Watchmen HBO series. Yes, it was my second favorite superhero or comic book based TV series last year. My first being Doom Patrol. I loved Doom Patrol. Loved it. Oh, Del Boy, thank you so much for the super chat. Gotta run, have coffee. My question can wait. I didn't see your question if you had one, man. What's up, Derek? Do you collect USB flash drive digital comic collections like Git Corp Valiant? I have, or the GFT Double Omni? Haven't heard anyone getting. No, I don't. Digital. Maybe it's my old eyes talking. Like I have a hard time reading digitally after. Like I read single issues, new current issues through Marvel's app or Comixology. That's how I keep up with the new series or keep up with X-Men. But it's like if I have to read more than like 5 to 10 issues, I gotta read physical. And it's weird to say that my eyes strain. I don't know what it is. Omar, what do you recommend for a DC fan trying to get into Marvel? Annihilation? Annihilation is quite excellent. Uh, if not Annihilation, I'm trying to think of what other series is easy to get. Jason Aaron's Thor series, Donny Cates' run on Venom, both quite excellent. And honestly, Jonathan Hickman's House and Powers of X, for sure. Is Donny Cates' Absolute Carnage worth it? To me, it is for the art alone. The story is awesome and it kicks ass, but the art alone by Ryan Stegman with those colors, oh, dude, it is freaking awesome. And to have it in an oversized format, my God. What is your favorite Grant Morrison comic? Oh, man, y'all got some good questions today. Animal Man. Animal Man? Yeah. There's no right or wrong questions. Thoughts on Last Ronin from TMNT? My thoughts? Oh man, thank you for the super chat. First of all, Mario, I haven't read Last Ronin from TMNT. I have not read it, so I don't know. I collect the IDW stuff, and I don't have the. Let's see. The last one I got is the one with Krang. What is that? Volume 11. So I'm waiting. I collect them that way. So sorry, I don't have an opinion on Last Ronin. Hey Omar, what are your top 5 must-read Batman and Superman series that we should all own and read? I can make a whole video on that, man. You can't be asking me questions like that. I gotta write this stuff down. Do you not know how my brain operates? I have to write things down. You can ask my wife. I sit there watching while we're watching a movie, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working on my list." Like my list of writers was literally me on a spreadsheet going, "All right, what has this person written? Why is it? What does it mean to me? Oh, gotta move somebody out of there." Like Chuck Dixon was like when I first did the list, it was 25. And Chuck Dixon at first was like number 15. And then eventually I thought of other writers. I'm like, so he didn't even make the top 20, which sucks. I love Chuck Dixon's run. Okay, so right off the bat, sorry, that's a long, convoluted answer. Batman, Prodigal, I love that. It's the aftermath of Nightfall. No Man's Land is great, but it's long. Officer Down is a phenomenal storyline. The Demon's Head, the original Demon's Head story with the introduction of Ra's al Ghul, Dennis O'Neil, Neil Adams. Oh, that stuff is freaking awesome. And to wrap it up, I really like. I'm a big fan of James Tynion's Bat Family book. The Detective Comics is coming out in omnibus format. Peter Tomasi's Batman and Robin, and I'll do Superman another day. How about that? Omar, what are your thoughts on either Squadron Supreme Omni? Squadron Supreme is Mark Gruenwald's baby. And the one I was going to do a video on the things I regretted selling, and one of the things I regretted selling was the original trade paperback that I had by Mark Gruenwald. By the way, was editor at Marvel Comics. Passed away suddenly of a heart attack. He wrote, he had an amazing run of Captain America, collected in a bunch of epics right now. He wrote Quasar And then, of course, he wrote Squadron Supreme. And to a lot of people, Squadron Supreme was Marvel's answer to Watchmen, but don't do that. Don't think of it like that. It is really its own thing, and it's unfair to compare anything to Watchmen. Even I did the same thing with Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. But Squadron Supreme was so good. Like, I liked it. I liked how different it was. It was a lot different than the books that were coming out at Marvel at the time. You can get the skinny omnibus or the new fatter omnibus that has a lot more of their appearances. Either one will do, but it's the 12-issue maxi series that you really want. Those and the graphic novel, I'm sorry, the original graphic novel. Those are quite excellent. But the reason I regret selling that reprint or that trade paperback was because this book meant so much to Mark Grunwald that his on in his will he wrote in that if something were to happen to him, to cremate his body and put the ashes into the ink that prints the trade paperback. So his wife, who, by the way, his wife commented on one of my videos. It was the Handbook of the Marvel Universe. And she messaged me. No, she didn't comment. She messaged me talking about how much, that book meant to Mark. And it was really sweet. It was one of my high points of having this channel. The widow of Mark Grunwald reaching out to me and telling her how many memories it brought back to her. But and yeah, that's what they did. So the first printing of the Grunwald's Squadron Supreme has his ashes in the ink, and that's how much that book meant to him. And I wish I had kept it. And I sold it because I was like, I'm going to get the omnibus. I should have kept it. The new Batman Superman omnibus is awesome. I have the two absolutes. I'm getting the omnibus hopefully sometime soon. So I hope I get it sometime to make a video. Batman Road to No Man's Land are available for pre-order. Should I get it? I'm gonna get it. I'm a big fan of that run. I think that run is awesome. It's huge. It contains Cataclysm, and it contains the Road to No Man's Land. So you sold a man's ashes. I know. I suck, man. I suck. Do you read any sports manga? What's your favorite? My favorite one. I have read sports manga. I've read Slam Dunk. I don't have those anymore. Harlem Beat. I used to read that. But my all-time favorite one has to be 1 Pound Gospel, baby. Rumiko Takahashi. It's a story of a boxer who falls in love with a cute little nun. Need I say more? I don't think so. It's wonderful. Slice of life manga is what I like. I would love a Manhunter omnibus. The damn Manhunter omnis or the trade paperbacks didn't even finish the last storyline. So, what the hell? Is Absolute New Frontier worth it? It is to me. I love Darwin Cook. I love that story. It is so badass and easy to get into. And if you want a touch of like Silver Age mixed with a little bit of Golden Age storytelling in there, that is the book for you. Here's a question for you all. War of Kings or War of the Realms? Which do you prefer? War of Kings. That's my answer. Dude, we don't call it that here. In America, what do we call it here? Oh gosh, it's got a ridiculous name. It didn't even last very long here in America. What is Hajime no Ippo? What is it called here in America? It was called like Round something. I can't remember. It had a video game here too. Omar, what's the order on the Venom by Donny Cates? I have the OHC. What should I buy next? Absolute Carnage. You should get that. And if you want everything, you'll have to get the War of the Realms omnibus or the War of the Realms Venom trade paperback, because those issues were, I think they were written. Were they written by Cullen Bunn? They weren't written by Donny Cates, so they're left out of the OHC that Volume 2 that's coming out. Omar, I sent the cover to the Near Mint Instagram. Thank you. I will check it out. Ippo the Fighting. I don't know what it's called. Ippo is not in the name. It's really something else, and I cannot remember what the hell it's called. 1 Pound Gospel. 1 Pound Gospel is the bomb, man. I recently read Watchmen for the first time. A little slow. There's nothing wrong with that. Or before Watchmen and Doomsday Clock. Somebody was asking about Doomsday Clock earlier. I will say I lost interest in Doomsday Clock because I was reading them as they were coming out, and the delays just killed it for me. it's I don't know. It's not the Jeff Johns that I'm used to. So I may read it all in when now that both collections are out. So it, before Watchmen to me, I'm one of these weird guys that anything that to me Watchmen is so special that it doesn't need anything else. To me, anything else almost feels like it's cashing in on the property, right? To me, it's not Watchmen unless it is Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. So anything else outside of that is just, I hate to say this, fanfic. Even though Dave Gibbons wrote some of those, and he's a great writer, I just feel like it's not both of them anymore. Kind of the same way that I felt about The Kingdom by Mark Waid, which is a follow up to Kingdom Come, but it didn't have Alex Ross, so it didn't feel the same. Or Thy Kingdom Come, I love that, but I also don't consider it a true sequel to Kingdom Come. Next up was Jeff Johns and Alex Ross. So, Fighting Spirit, thank you so much. Fighting Spirit, yeah, that lasted nothing. Like it lasted maybe a season here in America. When is the reading order this month? It will be next week, along with my top 10 favorite comic book writers of all time. Those are the 2 episodes I've got down. Tomorrow's a retro view. I haven't even thought about that yet. Tomorrow's Father's Day and my anniversary. So that's how I live my life. On the moment. By the moment. Just finished Luther Strode. Thanks for a recommendation. You got it. Thank you for watching, brother. I'm glad you liked it. That art, right, is sick. If you haven't read Silver Surfer Black, Trad Moore's artwork on that is freaking beautiful and crazy and psychedelic. It's awesome. And I let Amanda borrow it. She's got it right now, or I would show it. And the Treasury Edition, I know it's going to be in the Omnibus, but that Treasury Edition, oh man, it's freaking beautiful. Which is your favorite? Roy Thomas's run on Savage Sword of Conan or Conan the Barbarian? Well, being that this is my first time reading the series through the Omnis, oh man, I like Conan the Barbarian. Don't get me wrong, I think Savage Sword is awesome. It's a lot more adult oriented, but Conan the Barbarian, I don't know. It's just a mix of that, especially when Big Buscema takes over. Big John, oh yes, it's great. You should watch it if you can. I'm sure you'll love it. Fighting Spirit, I will. HBO. Dave Gibbons really loved the HBO series. That's high praise and a huge stamp of approval. Right. And I don't want to sound like Alan Moore. Like Alan Moore's like, take my damn name off of that. I don't want anything. Like doesn't get any money for any of these things. Like that's how. And it breaks my heart because his daughter released a statement a few months ago, and you get to understand why Alan Moore in comic books broke his heart. Like I wish I had a link to it, but she released a statement about her father and the way he views comics and why he is the way that he is. Because to me, for years, and just like everybody else, Alan Moore is just like an old man, a cranky old man. But reading that actually makes me understand why he is the way he is. As far as the HBO series, it is freaking phenomenal. I loved it. But what I was saying is, yes, it's not Watchmen unless Alan Moore or Dave Gibbons are involved. But holy crap, is that HBO series amazing. And Amanda and I, did we review it? I can't remember if we reviewed it last year or not. It was when she was coming back to the channel. But maybe we should. What's the best format to read Chris Claremont's X-Men run? Omnibus. They're all being reprinted starting this summer. So yes. Guys, can you recommend good DC absolutes except Sandman and Preacher? I will throw in my vote for Absolute Kingdom Come if that's still available. If not, Day Tripper. Alan Moore's so cranky. He was a good sport for appearing on Simpsons, though. Yeah, I thought so. Like, I thought he was just a cranky old man, but there's an actual reasoning why he is the way that he is. Like, it's really, it's almost sad what happened to him and why he thinks the way he does now because of all these things. Do you need to read Infinite Crisis while reading Green Lantern? You don't need to. I strongly recommend it because it's my favorite event. Yeah. Did Amanda leave the channel because you made her? I didn't make these women read anything. They're all grown ass women. They can read whatever they want. I got to read all Maddie's picks for July, right? There's comics I've never even heard of in there, which is good. I love being introduced to new things. The HBO series was phenomenal. So yeah. Any new absolutes coming? Absolute Swan Volume 2, Absolute Fourth World. This is off the top of my head. I can't really remember. Absolute. Sadly, Absolute Fables was canceled. Have you read Pluto? Pluto is my Urasawa. That's my favorite Urasawa. I grew up watching Astro Boy, so anything to do with Astro Boys, yes. Do you think Berserk will end well? Or do you? I'm sorry. Do you think Berserk will end? Yeah, I think so. If not, we always got Brandon Sanderson that can finish off the series. What's up, Jeff? Dude, I love seeing your pictures in the Facebook group. Big fan of the DC Golden and Silver Age Omnis. Hoping the Trinity gets completed soon. Getting closer, right, brother? We got what is it? Golden Age Superman Volume 7 coming out next year. So it's hopeful that it's weird because I think that all of the gold we'll have all Golden Age Superman long before we have any of the current age stuff. It's the upcoming reading order video Marvel series. Yes, it's for the Marvel events collected in chronological order. Did you finish? Did you finish reading the Sunstone? Book 2 destroyed me. I did. I did finish reading Sunstone. It wasn't, surprising. It wasn't my favorite thing. My wife loved it though. Maddie loves it. What's wrong with me? It's a love story about two women that fall in love with each other, and then they have BDSM. What the hell's wrong with me? What is there not to love about that? And for some reason, what did I say? It was too wordy? I can't remember. What is your ranking on the Spider-Man movies? Spider-Man 2, Far From Home, Spider-Man 1, not Far From Home, the first one, Homecoming. Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man Homecoming, Amazing Spider-Man. Oh. Amazing Spider-Man 2 and then Spider-Man 3, maybe? When the Omni reprint lists this week. Yeah. It'll drop sometime this week. Keep an eye on the channel. I'll have to make it first. So don't tug that thread. I'm going to. It's all I got. Damn it, Matthew. Hi, Omar. Have you ever read Batman Secrets by Sam Keith? No, I haven't. But I'm a big Sam Keith fan too. How did I not read that? I can see the cover in my head right now. Omar, when are we getting a Batman reading order? That will go up. I'm gonna make that go up against Superman. Whether people want to see a Batman or Superman reading order, that should be up on our Patreon sometime in July or August. I haven't decided. I was waiting on a couple more trades to come out, but things got delayed, so I may just jump the gun and do it, and then put in the where you should read this. And by the way, I just have to focus on Batman and Detective, because if I go into Shadow of the Bat, Legends of the Dark Knight, unless it's part of a crossover, that thing can go out of hand. And instead of making 4 episodes, which I already have to do, I have to maybe do 5. So that's one of the ones I was waiting on. When does the Batman Omni come out? Volume 3, I think sometime in the fall. Is Doomsday Clock worth buying? I'm going to say maybe. I've only read the first few issues. I stopped reading as of issue like 5, so I didn't even finish it. Near me condition, the only thing wrong with you is what's wrong with a lot of us. We have trouble seeing ourselves as the fantastic people we are. And it takes others to show us. Thank you. That's right. There's nothing wrong with me. Because I don't like Sunstone. Or I didn't like it. Omar, what's your stance on everything that's come out this week about Ellis and Stewart? Will you buy new books that they are attached to or sell your own? I won't sell my... What's up, Clark Nato? Shout out to you, man. Great guy. I won't sell my stuff for the same reason I don't sell my JLI or I don't sell my Kenshin. And as far as Stewart, I really don't have that much other than Burnside, Batgirl. Maybe some issues that he drew. What was it? A Fight Club. As far as Ellis, I don't know. That's one for some reason. I usually don't get into people's personal lives, but for some reason I got into reading about that one. And I know they're accusations, but there's so many of them. And and as I said earlier, and you know this, Jeremy, like I've always been able to separate the artist from the art to an extent, right? Like if I found out somebody was eating babies, I don't think I could support them anymore. So I don't know. It seems very weird. He apologized, and the people and one of the ladies said it seemed authentic. His apology. So I'm okay getting new stuff by Ellis. But that's just me. I don't speak for everybody, and I certainly don't speak for everybody on my channel. Everybody's different. So, Omar, what are your thoughts on the Dark Knight trilogy? They're some of my favorite movies ever made. Oh, the movies. But when I think about Batman, I don't necessarily think of Dark Knight trilogy. I don't think most people do. They're more Christopher Nolan movies, right? Feels more like a Christopher Nolan trilogy. I love them, but Dark Knight, Dark Knight is awesome. Dark Knight Rises was probably my least favorite, but Dark Knight was freaking phenomenal. Now, oh man, I've been on for 2 hours. You guys have been great. I'm gonna start jumping off here, so I will remember the old days of innocent until proven guilty. And that's another thing too. I don't want to jump into this like not everybody, but it seems like there's a cancel culture that we have, and I mean even the publisher, as a publisher, you're put into that corner of like, what do you do? Like DC saying we're not, Warren Ellis is off of this Batman book that he was going to be. It's just I don't know. I I don't know. It feels weird asking me because I'm a man. I really don't have a say in this. It's just I'm a guy that likes comic books. Just saw Man of Steel again because it was that bad and not as bad. Right? That's what we all said. We watched it in our segment. We are like, you know what? Not that bad. I hate that word in context. In this context, cancel. Right? DC cancellations. I'm used to saying, right? DC cancellations. But cancel culture is completely different. 2 hours is still going. Yeah. So I'm wrapping it up. Let's go ahead and end it. There's a lot of thoughts on that, so all right, here's the one from Lionheart. What is weird is Superman has Batman with seniority, but Batman has a lot more stories in print, and not even that much, right? If you think about it, compared to other other series, Batman could have a lot of books published, and for some reason we don't. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I have to point this out. I was sexually assaulted by a comic writer when I was 12, and no one believed me. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, first of all, I'm sorry that happened. That's fucking shitty. 12 years old? I don't talk about personal things on this channel because I try to make it upbeat and focus on the good things, which is comics to me. But when I see things like this, it really pisses me off. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. So your view of things are a lot different than mine. And like I said, I don't speak for everybody, and I don't speak for anybody on my channel. It's just me. But I am so sorry you had to deal with that. That is fucking sucks. So, everybody, please, stay healthy, stay safe out there, love one another. A lot of shitty things going on, everywhere. But we can strive to be better people. Be like these characters that we love so much. Maybe not so much like Jesse and Preacher. I don't know. I like him. But yeah, please, everybody, treat each other good. Love one another. Much love to all of you. Thank you for joining. Oh, hit that like button. I'm sorry. I always fucking forget. I suck at signing off. Hit that like button. I'll be back tomorrow. And much happy Father's Day to all you fathers, upcoming fathers to be. Yep. My anniversary is tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to that. Not like we can go out and do anything, but my wife will be home. So, next stream I'll be back. Bill Tucci will be joining me sometime this week. If you want to watch for that, he's the guy who created She. He's bringing Miss Fury back to Dynamite, so it'll be an interesting conversation. So, thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. Patreon, Redbubble, y'all know by now. Thank you. Y'all be good. How many years? Really important question. 12. I always have to add a year to my daughter's age, who's 11. Y'all be good.